but they don't track rentals. RSC at the same time has looked at data over the past several years, and what we've determined is that 24% of all rentals go past due. And of those 24%, the average past due days is 15. So, let's look at this another way. We've had the opportunity to talk to many companies, many different companies, about the factors that affect their overall equipment rental scenarios. So, let's look at today with a number of similar companies. First factor is a very decentralized process. While necessary to the operation in some regards, obviously it creates challenges for overall effectiveness of the organization. Another one is systems. Multiple systems are used to manage the rental process. Post-it notes, several different things. Third, employees. Number of employees obviously responsible for making sure the equipment is there when it's needed and ready to go. Vendors. Multiple vendors are enlisted to make sure you have the right equipment at the right time. And lastly, craft people. Craftspeople make sure that the equipment that's needed is there and ready to go in a timely manner. So, what are the end results of all these factors, and what do they result in as far as the equipment rental process is concerned? The first is too much. Too much equipment is getting rented. Organizations routinely have too much equipment on site, resulting in redundancy and leading to waste and wasted resources across all project areas. The other is too long. Equipment stays out just too long, way past its expected return date. And finally, it's way too complex. You're moving between post-it notes, a spreadsheet on a computer. Companies acknowledge that what they have is swivel time, moving between those systems. Too many things involved in the process, too many people involved in the process, way too complex, creates a very inefficient and effective management system. So the end result, too much, too long, and too complex, are obviously increased rental costs, increased time to manage the process, and most importantly, reduced operator productivity, your greatest asset with people in the process. So when you pull all this together in this current state on these factors, you have what is at best a fragmented process. It's very reactive. What this does is it puts your organization, quite frankly, at risk, a great risk. As a matter of fact, the greatest risk is not knowing how to approach the future goals of your organization and effectively managing the process towards achieving those goals. Ultimately, not moving away from this fragmented, reactive process to a future process of operational efficiency, companies will find themselves not able to realize their potential growth trajectory towards the future. So what are the ways companies typically do it today? Well, I think the most visible and the most recognized is certainly price. Companies look at line item pricing, they look at look at terms and conditions, favorable terms and conditions, and they think by managing in that direction that they're going to effectively create a process to manage the rentals that are going to get them to the future, when basically that's just not going to happen. As a matter of fact, what we see is that 1/6, the price at 1/6 the financial impact of truly addressing too much, too long, and too complex. Ultimately, by not moving in the direction of fixing the problem and just fixating on price, we continue to go deeper into the abyss. The result of this area obviously forces you to continually to move in this direction. What companies are doing today is they want to bridge the gap. Companies are working with RSC to bridge the gap from what's today to obviously the future. They're looking at recognizing equipment rental management and how it affects employee productivity, how it affects employee engagement, and ultimately affects the project results of the project and how effective the project's going to be. So companies, again, look at this rental equipment process and moving from today to the future, and the goal is that basically will allow them to get there. So companies work with RSC to achieve these goals to get to the future in operational efficiency. So let's look at best-in-class companies and the goals that they are achieving through working with RSC. And the first one is very simply accountability and visibility. What if you had accountability and visibility in a process that would allow you to look at your entire rental operation from cradle to grave? You could look at equipment you have on rent, redundancies, address the too much, look at too long, to eliminate past dues. You would empower your people to essentially have the ability to manage across all lines of the business and create visibility and accountability for each of these stakeholder groups. Second, streamline the process. What if you had a partner that would actually look at your rental operation specifically for you and dedicate themselves to managing the process in the most efficient and effective way that you could, eliminating waste, looking at safety and making sure that your team has the right equipment at the right time, and with the ability to move into the project so that they have absolutely every resource they need from the beginning. We can do that. Thirdly, and most importantly, obviously reducing cost and the total cost of operations. What if you had tools that would allow you to designate certain target criteria that you wanted to measure, scorecards, key performance indicators, that would allow you to reflect back and see the effect of your management decisions and how it affected the overall rental, to set targets that you decide what are important to you to move towards your current state to continuous improvement. We can do that through tools like RSC Total Control, which gives you the visibility and also the forward ability to look ahead instead of looking in the rearview mirror. You can do that with RSC. Obviously, in looking at the future opportunity that exists when you look at visibility and accountability, managing the equipment process, streamlining the process, reducing cost, all these things go into what we call consumption management. And companies are working with RSC every day to achieve these goals. Consumption management is a relatively new term, and while we certainly understand that for many of you, You know,